Session number 2, Reporting, Analytics, Workflow, and Legal Entity in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Here is today's learning agenda. We will start with understand different types of reports and inquiries in financial and operations. Learn about financial reporting. Use inquiry and report in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Learn how to configure finance and operations for Power Platform products. Overview of Microsoft Dynamics 365 Unified Operation mobile apps. Understand different workflow types for business process. Learn to create and set up workflows. Then use workflow item functionalities. And last, set up and configure legal entity in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. First, let's understand different types of reports and inquiries in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations provides specialized tools for 5 reporting experiences. First, embedded analytical and native control. This is a built-in visualizations that are used in operational reports. This let us aggregate data to workspace by using native controls such as charts and grids. Second is a SQL Server Reporting Services, SSRS. This is primarily used for business documents and high volume printing scenarios that are common with invoice, packaging, splits, picking list, and more. Normally, this refers to external document to customers. Financial Report Designer. Financial Report Designer is a flexible tool that is used to customize and create financial statements such as balance sheets, income statements, and cash flow statements. This is a favorite tool for financial controller, CFO, okay? Power Platform. Power Platform includes dashboards and workspaces that contains predefined and personalized views, Power BI, Power Apps, and Microsoft Flow integrations. Electronic reporting. The electronic reporting used to configure electronic documents in accordance with legal requirements of various countries and regions. In Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, we can use Microsoft Office integration tool to generate ad hoc report. By using Microsoft Office integration built-in feature, we can export selected or all rows from list pages grid and export that entity values into Microsoft Excel workbook for reporting purpose. This is normally referred to ad hoc reports. Then we can use the rich capabilities of Excel, such as pivot table, charts, and more, to present our data in different way for the business requirement. Financial reporting for Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations is the most powerful and favorite report tool of CFO or controller because it allows financial and business professionals to create, maintain, and view financial statements by themselves. It moves beyond traditional report constraints to help us efficiently design various types of reports such as income statements, balance sheet, trial balance, and etc. With the financial reporting, we can analyze financial data by including financial dimensions and sequence and enable the building of the customer reporting structures. In financial reporting, main account is treated as special financial dimension. For example, we can create financial role structure to focus on cost accounts. We can set up unlimited financial dimensions that allow for cost detail. The following financial dimensions are examples that might be associated with cost account. For example, cost center, department, or we can combine them two together as financial sets. The financial reporting database is deployed to its own SQL Azure database on the same SQL Azure service as finance and operations instance. This means that the database is pre-configured when we deploy Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and automatically linked available database so that the financial report designer can connect with it. In Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, financial reporting, there are two components of financial reporting which make it easy to create, view, and schedule reports. There are report designer. Report designer creates report building blocks that can be combined to define and generate a report. Advanced user can create new report building blocks or modify existing building blocks to meet their requirements. By using report designer, we will be able to save and reuse dimension combination, which is financial dimension sets, for multiple reports. Control how to format and display dimension descriptions. Identify the accounts or dimensions that have been omitted from report building blocks. Format the headers for rolling forecasts. Reporting schedules. It schedules a single report or a group of reports so that it's generated on a regular basis. For example, the financial statement functionality simplify our ability to build a reporting structure for internal analytical purpose. We can create many financial reports to comply with the requirements and the international accounting standards. We can manage the generation and the distribution of report by using following features. Schedule reporting so that they are automatically generated on the daily, weekly, monthly, or annually basis. Exporting the report result to the read-only PDF format, which provides better document security through digital signatures. Exporting the Microsoft Excel worksheets. We also can perform the following tasks within financial reporting interactively. For example, add a dimension filter to limit the report content to a specific dimension or combination of dimensions. Add attributes filters to limit the report content to a specific attribute or combination of attributes. Change the report date for the report that we are viewing. Change the currency of the report that we are viewing if we are using multi-currency. Dynamically view the report in either summary view or detail view. We recommend that link main account to main account category, which makes it easier and faster when set up our reporting in financial reporting. For example, if we are creating a report rather than listing many main accounts, we can simply list our main account category and get a total of all main accounts in that category. Before we're creating and generating a financial report in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, we needed to ensure that following have been set up in our company. That's a mandatory setting, which are currency, fiscal calendar, chart of account, and the ledger. We can find financial report menu in following module, inquiry and the report section in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. There are general ledger module, budgeting module, and consolidations. Now let's look at financial reporting setup. The financial reporting setup page is located in General Ledger module, Ledger Setup. It has a list of all financial dimensions in the system. It has two sections that determine the data that will report on in financial reporting. One is Dimension tab. Because different companies use different dimensions and account structures, there's no way to determine the order in which user want to view all financial dimensions on reports. So this page is used to allow user set up the order in which we want to financial dimension to appear when we build and view a report in financial reporting. The other one is Attribute tab. Attribute tab is where we can select whether we want the ability to use vendor and a customer as attribute for filter and the report design. Reporting on vendor and customer will only be valuable if we do not enter multiple vendors or customers in a single voucher when posting transactions. Choosing vendor and or customer will add additional time to the integration. Before we can create a financial report, we need to understand financial reporting building blocks in Report Designer. Financial Report Designer has the following building blocks. Role definition. A role definition is a report component or building block that specifies the contents of each role on the financial report. It can be combined with column definition, reporting tree definition, and the report definition to create a building block group that can be used by multiple companies. A role definitions describes lines, for example, salaries or sales on the report. It also lists the segment value or dimension that contains value for each line item and include a role format and the calculations. We can use a role definition in the financial statement to represent financial figure by the following financial dimensions, main account, or combination of that two. A role definition can contain up to 20,000 financial dimension rows and can include information of descriptive text that adds meaning to the report by creating section heading, lines, and space such as cash or total revenue. Links to financial data, which can include the dimension value in finance and operations, row total, and the formula that are based on the linked financial data. Usually, each row in a row definition contains one of the following type of information: reference to the financial dimension system, totals or calculations that are based on the data, formattings. Column definition. A column definition is a report component or building block that defines contents of column on the report. Like a row definition, basic column definition can be used on multiple reports. A column definition defines period of use when data is extracted from the financial dimension. It also includes column formatting and calculations. We can also restrict a report column to specific unit for specific dates. Often, we might need to combine financial dimension set to make detailed financial report, which matches customers' requirement. This helps company to analyze transactions from following transaction, general ledger, and a budget. We can add, modify, and delete the header that appear at the top of the column on the report. We can also configure condition spanning column header based on period field from column definitions and the base period field from the report definitions. The base period feature helps save time when we create rolling forecast reports. The third one is a reporting tree definition. A reporting tree definition helps define the structure and hierarchy of our organization. This is a cross-dimensional and a cross-company hierarchy structure that is based on dimensional relationship in our financial data. It provides information at the reporting unit level and at the summary level for all units in the tree. Reporting tree definitions can be combined with column definitions and report definitions to create a building block group that can be used for multiple companies. A reporting unit can be an individual department from the financial data, or it can be a high-level summary unit that combines information from other reporting units. For a reporting definition that includes a reporting tree, one report is generated for each reporting unit and for the summary level. Financial reports that aren't based on the reporting tree use only some of the capabilities of financial reporting. We can use multiple reporting tree definitions together with the same row and column definition to view our organization data in various ways. All these reports use the row and column definition that are specified in the report definition, unless the report definition specifies that the reporting tree from the row definition should be used. Row and column definition are important components in the design and functionality of financial reports. The purpose of financial report is financial statement functionality. The financial statement functionality simplifies our ability to build a report structure for internal analytical purpose. We can create many financial reports to comply with requirements and international accounting standards such as balance sheets, trial balance, income statement. There are two default balance sheet reports. One is a balance sheet default. The sections are stacked, provides a view of organization's financial position for the year. The other one is called side-by-side balance sheet default. The sections are side-by-side, provides a view of the organization's financial position for the year, assets in the library, and the shareholders' equity are side-by-side. There are three trial balance reports. They are detailed trial balance default, which provides balance information for all accounts and include debit and credit balance, and the net of this together with the transaction date, voucher, and the journal description. The other one is a summary trial balance default, which provides balance information for all accounts and includes opening and closing balance and the debit and credit balance together with their net difference. The third one called summary trial balance year-over-year default, which provides balance information for all accounts and include opening and close balance and a debit and a credit balance together with their net difference for the current year and the past year. Now, for income statements default report provides a view of organization profitability for the current period and for the year to date. We can create password to lock and help protect the building block for security consideration. In this way, we can add a level of security to report component without securing the whole system. A password can help protect building block information that is important to our month-end reporting process. A user in any role can lock a building block. However, other users always have read-only access to a locked component. User can open, change, and save the locked component and the new name. A user who has role of administrator can always access and change locked building blocks. Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations include hundreds of out-of-box reports and inquiries. Most of the module in Finance and Operations contains a menu item collection named Inquiry and Reports. The screenshots here is example of general ledger inquiry reports menu items. Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations delivers interactive reports that are seamlessly integrated into application workspaces. Workspaces can use rich infographical and visual that are supported by Microsoft Power BI. We can also use Power Apps and Microsoft Flow with financial and operations. We can embed Power Apps into Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations by using the personalized toolbar that is available on most pages in the system. When we build a Power Apps, it's important that we are logged into powerapps.com and our instance of Finance and Operations by using the same credentials. By using Power Apps, we can build apps fast with point-and-click approach to app design. Choose from a large selection of templates or start from a blank canvas. Easily connect our apps to date and use Excel-like expressions to easily add logic. Publish our apps to the web, iOS, Android, and Windows 10. With Common Data Service CDS built in, we get a powerful data service with rich customization business logic and security capabilities. Our data installed in a standard format throughout the common data model so that it's ready to go and easy to use. Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations supports integration with Microsoft Power Apps, a service for developers and a non-technical user to build custom business apps for mobile device, tablets, and the web without writing code. Power Apps developed by us, our organization, or broader system can then be embedded in a financial and operations clients to augment the product's functionality. For example, we might build a Power App to supplement finance and operations with information retrieved from another system. Before embedding Power Apps into a financial and operations client, we first need to find our built Power App with a desired visual and our functionality. When we are ready to embed a specific Power Apps, we can choose between one of two ways of accessing Power Apps on a page, whichever route better fits to our scenario. The first way is through the Power Apps button that has been added to a standard action pane. Power Apps added using this merchant's will appear as a menu item inside the Power Apps menu button. When selected, each of these menu items will open a side pane that contains the embedded Power Apps. Alternatively, we may choose to show a Power App directly on a page as a new tab, Fast tab, Blade, or as a new section in a workspace. When configure our embedded Power Apps in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, we can select a single field that we want to send as input to a Power App. This allows the Power App to be responsive based on the data that we are currently viewing in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Sharing an embedded Power Apps. After we have embedded a Power App on a page and confirmed that it's working correctly with any data context, password from the page, we might want to share this embedded Power Apps with other users in the system. This can be accomplished in two different ways using the personalization capabilities of the product. The recommended scenario is through the system administrator who can push a personalization to all users or a subset of users. Alternatively, we can export our pages' personalizations, send them to one or more users, and have each of those users to import those changes. To manage option on the personalization toolbar enable us to export and import personalizations. As you can see here on the screenshots, user can click the Insert Power Apps icon in the right corner of the navigation menu and select Insert Power Apps. After you open the Insert Power Apps, user can further select the components of the Power Apps to be included in the system. And this can be done by using user need to be specify the Power Apps name and apps ID, and also import the data for the Power Apps. And then after everything's done, you can share the embedded Power Apps through the personalization administration. Business events can be consumed in Microsoft Flow via the Microsoft Finance and Operations connector. The Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations connector has a trigger that is named when a business event occurs. This trigger can be used to subscribe to any of the business events that are available in the task instance of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance Operations. After when a business event happens, trigger is added to a flow. The flow information must be provided, which is instance. Instance specify a host name of the finance and operations instance where business events occur. Environment instance should be available in the provided drop-down menu, but if an environment is not listed, it can be entered as a custom value. Category. Select the category of a business events. The business events field then show the business events in that category. Business event is the available business event in the selected category. Legal entity. Legal entity specify legal entity where the business event is being subscribed to. The flow will be triggered when the business event occur in the legal entity in the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. By default, this field is blank, and the business event is subscribed to in an all legal entity. When the flow is saved, a subscription to the selected business event is added into the environment instance. As part of a subscription process, the required endpoint is set up, and the corresponding business event is activated. If either the trigger or the flow is deleted or disabled, the business event is automatically unsubscribed from. Multiple flow can subscribe to the same business event in different legal entity or in the same legal entity. The process for implementing the business event and sending it to fairly straightforward. Build a contract. Build the event. And add the code to send the event. Microsoft Flow can configure Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations automatically for us. After we save our flow, it creates an endpoint in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Then it activates the business event for us. There's no remaining configuration set up in Finance and Operations apart from verify that the endpoint has been correctly configured before triggering an event. The steps are: first, sign into the Finance and Operations client. Then go to System Administration, Setup, Business Events. Then select Endpoint. Verify that a new endpoint has been created with GUID appended in the name. If check the Active Events tab, we can also verify that a payment posted is activated for a legal entity GBSI. The final step is to trigger the business event of posted customer payment and check whether the flow runs and the user receive an email with a customer payment details. We should use the ready-made Power BI content as a first step of a Power BI design. We can modify ready-made reports or extend them by using capabilities that are built into a PowerBI.com. In addition to modify ready-made reports, we can extend and publish them using Power BI authoring tools such as Power BI Desktop Client. We can also create new reports. We can use several approaches to create new Power BI report. The following PowerBI.com solutions are available in the shared assets library of LCS. User will refer to a version information in the shared assets library to download the correct version of our environment. For our environment to use proper assets of Power BI. Note: Microsoft PowerBI.com solution in the list here have been embedded in Analytical workspaces in recent version of Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Using Analytical workspace eliminates the need to download this solution from shared assets library in LCS. The top in this list indicate where this PowerBI.com solution have been embedded in Finance and Operations where applicable. Customer management. The customer management Microsoft Power BI content intended for inventory accountant or individuals in organization who are responsible or interested in the status of inventory or work in progress WIP or who are responsible for the interest in the analysis standard cost variances. This Power BI content provides a categorized format that helps us monitor the performance of the inventories and visualize how costs flow through them. We can gain managerial insights such as turnover ratio, number of days that inventory is on hand, accuracy, and ABC classification at our preferred aggregate level, company, item group, or site. The information that is made available can also be used as a detailed supplement to the financial statement. The another one is a financial performance. Financial performance describes the dashboard and the report that are included and provide information about the date, data model, and entities that were used to build the solutions. Because organizations want liabilities and revenue amounts to appear as a positive amount on the report, the setup of the main account is important. For this main account to appear as a positive amount, the main account type must be set up liability or revenue. When this account type are used, reporting through Power BI will reverse the sign and show the amount as positive. Retail channel performance. The retail channel performance PowerBI.com solution let us quickly build our channel performance analyticals. The PowerBI.com solution is designed specifically for channel managers who focus on sales performance to predict trends and uncover insights. Its components draw directly from retail and commerce data in the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operation database, and provide drilling down reports about organization-wide sales performance across global geographic by employee, category, product, terminal, channel, and more. Power BI automatically creates reports and dashboards that give us a great starting point for exploring and analyzing our retail and commerce data. There are various types of reporting in financial and operations. Chart control are used to build embedded experience that require visuals. Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Service, SSRS, is an engine that is designed for pixel-perfect formatted report that often require print, such as purchase order, customer invoice. We use SSS for document style report. All investments in SSI's integration focus on document generation and print scenario. Microsoft uses Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operation. For all non-document reports or reports that don't have to be printed, we want to embed them Power BI. Ready-made Power BI content. We can use ready-made Power BI content report right away. Two types of Power BI content are available. One is Power BI content that's available in Microsoft Dynamics Lifecycle Services, LCS. LCS is a service that can manage our finance and operation environment. LCS is operated by Microsoft. Power BI reports are deployed and developed by using Entity Store and are then distributed in LCS as implementation assets. In LCS, we will find out not only content that is developed by Microsoft, but also content that is developed by independent software vendor ISVs and partners. Power BI content packs that are distributed in the PowerBI.com marketplace. There are several Power BI content packs in the PowerBI.com marketplace. Also, these content packs will continue to be supported until further notice. Microsoft's future investments in the content packs will be based on Entity Store, and content will be released via LCS. Depending on the version, Microsoft can use one of both types of content. To set up a Power BI in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, first, in the Dynamics Finance and Operations client, open the Power BI configuration page. Then select Edit. Then set Enable option to Yes. Now, in the Application ID field, enter Application ID value that we got from Power BI in the previous procedures. In the Application Key field, enter Application Key value that we got from Power BI. We can apply the company filters only if our Power BI content has a table that is named company and a column that is named ID. Ready-made Power BI content that is released with Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations uses this convenience. Then, after all done, click Save. Complete the steps in the next section to verify, change, and enable Power BI integration. Now, Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations let a user to ping tiles, dashboard, and reports from their own PowerBI.com account to Workspace. If we are starting Power BI from Finance and Operations for the first time, we are prompted to authorize sign in to Microsoft Power BI from the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations client. Click here to provide authorization to Power BI, as shown on the screen. This functionality requires a one-time configuration to our environment. An administrator must do this step to enable Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations and Microsoft Power BI to communicate and authentication correctly. Both Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations and PowerBI.com are cloud-based services. For Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations workspace to show a Power BI tile, the Finance and Operations server must contact the Power BI service on behalf of a user and access the visualization. It must then withdraw the visualization in the Finance and Operations workspace. The fact that Finance and Operations server contacts Power BI service on behalf of a user is important. When a user such as D365 user at Contoso.com contacts PowerBI.com services, Power BI should show only tiles and reports from the user PowerBI.com subscription. By completing this configuration step, we enable Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations to contact the PowerBI.com services. As you can see, after configuration do, we can add and remove Power BI tiles from the existing Power BI marketplace for Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Analytical workspaces. The analytical workspaces that are bundled with the application suite offer user relevant insights into their business data. However, in some cases, it might make sense to replace standard reports with custom reports that are designed specifically for the users in our organization. Finance and Operations now delivers interactive report that seamlessly integrate into application workspaces by using rich infographics and visuals supported by Power BI, include a large number of controls provided by third parties. Workspaces can provide a highly visual yet interactive experience for users. Using infographic in the overview page, user can get a quick glance of the state of the business. They can interact with data by simply clicking or touching visual on the page. They can see the cost and effect performance simple what-if operations without leaving the workspace. Thanks to stunning yet interactive visuals, our user will have fun exploring data and discover hidden trends. The world-class tools that PowerBI.com provides us produce analytical reports that contain mashed-up views that use data from external sources. In recent Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations platform update, Power User can replace the standard embedded reports with those that are hosted on PowerBI.com. We can add Analytical to Workspace by using Power BI Embedded. The following Power BI solutions are available in Shared Assets Library of Lifecycle Services, LCS. Refer to version information in the Shared Assets Library to download the correct version for our environment. There are actual versus budget. Individuals who are responsible for monitoring actual versus budget performance in their organization can use this Power BI content. It provides visual visibility into your budget variances. We can analyze budget for the current year by account category, budget code, main account description, or fiscal period to gain better understanding of the cost of any variances. The other one is called Cash Overview. Cash Overview is the business users who are responsible for cash in their organization can have visibility into business cash flow by using this Power BI content. It provides forecasts that can help financial leaders make better decisions and therefore improve the health of the business cash flow. We can analyze cash by legal entity, currency, and a bank account to gain better understanding of surpluses and shortfalls. Reports from the Cash Overview Power BI content are displayed in the management workspace, compensation, and benefits. Two reports are available in this Power BI content. Comp and benefits analysis provide information for hourly and salary employee by company, average hourly pay, average salary pay, employees by employment type, and plan enrollment. Other one, employee benefits content, provide information for employee enrollment by select benefits so we can filter all employees by each benefits. The other one called cost accounting analysis. This Power BI content intended for cost controller or anyone who is responsible for performance cost control of an organization. This report includes the key metrics such as cost, managed to, and cost rate by actual cost, budget cost, and a flexible budget cost. It uses transaction data from the cost accounting module and provides an aggregate view of cost for the whole organization in one reporting currency. Manager can filter the data by cost object to perform cost control of their organizational units, even if organization can have several legal entities. Compensation Power BI. This Power BI content is shown the compensation management workspace. The following reports are available. Compensation overview provides a summary of the other reports. Compensation analysis. This is hourly and salary employee by company, total employee by compensation plan, male and female employee by compensation plan, and employee compensation by department. The third one called position pay analysis. It is highest and lowest hourly and salary pay, position with the highest and the lowest pay, and full-time and part-time positions. The fourth one is compensation plan analysis. Provides information regarding the employee enrollment by select benefit. Credit and collection management content. The credit and collection management manager and collection clerks can benefit from this Power BI content. It provides key credit and collection metrics such as days of sales outstanding, balance, overdue, credit exposure, and customers that are over their credit limit. It uses transactional data and provides aggregate views of credit and collection across all companies. It also provides a breakdown per company, customer group, and customer. Employee competence and development. This Power BI content are available for following types. One is competence and development analysis Power BI content, which provides information of the team member skills by type. The other one is a skill profile, which provides information regarding the skill profile for the selected employee. Then skill analysis provide information regarding skills by type and the rating. Financial performance Power BI content describe the dashboard and the report that are included and provide information about the data model and entities that were used to build a solution because organizations want liabilities and the revenue amount to appear in the positive amount on the report. As we mentioned, the setup of main account is important. For those main account to appear as a positive amount, the main account type must be set to liability and revenue, which already mentioned. When these account types are used, reporting through the Power BI will reverse the sign and show the account and amount as positive. Fixed assets management Power BI content. This workspace shows information that are related to fixed assets that are entered in the system. It includes summary view of an analytical view. The My Work tab shows summary tiles, fixed assets detail, and related information about fixed assets in the current company. We can also add Analytical to Power BI Analytical section directly in the workspace. The Analytical All Company tab uses capability of Microsoft Power BI to show visual that are related to fixed assets in all companies. Organization training. Two reports are available in this Power BI content. One is course analysis, which provides information for registration by location, course attendance by status, and registration list. The other one is a course type, provides information on course type by skill. Practice manager. Practice managers and project managers can benefit from this Power BI content, which provides key metrics that are related to the projects that the organization is working on. The dashboard gives an overview of the projects and the related customer. A report level filter can be used to report for specific legal entity. This Power BI content exports data from project accounting aggregate measurement. The Practice Manager Power BI content contains 5 reports pages, 1 overview page, and 4 pages that provides detail about project cost, revenue, earning value management, and hour metrics that are broken down across various dimensions. All the amounts in the content are shown in the system currency. We can set the system currency on the system parameters page, cost management, inventory accountant, and individual who are responsible or interested in those status of inventory or work in progress, and the people who analyze the standard cost variance benefit from this Power BI content. Production performance. Production Manager can benefit from the Power BI content, which can monitor the performance of the manufacturing operations for a timely running process, quality control, and a cost analysis. This report uses for transaction data from production orders and batch orders and provides aggregate view of the company-wide production metrics. Purchase spend analysis. This Power BI content helps purchasing manager make sure that the purchase spending is within the all allocated budget over the time. Recruiting. This Power BI content is shown on the recruitment management workspace and contains information such as applicant analysis, which shows total number of applicants and then group them by jobs, gender, and location. Applicant status, which shows applicant by type, status, and applicant status. Recruiting analysis shows net hire ratio, average days to hire, percentage of the bad hires, recruiting cost, number of recruitment projects, high to applied, and applicants versus opening by recruitment project. Sales and profitability performance. This sales manager can monitor the key sales metrics of revenue, gross profit, and profit margin by using this Power BI content. It uses sales transaction data and provides both aggregate view on the company-wide sales figure and a breakdown of sales performance for customer and products. Vendor payment. This is a Power BI content shows information that is related to the processing of vendor payment. This workspace includes My Work, View, and Analytical page. My Work View shows summary tiles, vendor transaction grids, and related vendor information. The Analytical page uses the capability of a Power BI to show visuals that are related to the vendor payment. Warehouse performance. This warehouse performance Power BI content manager can monitor important inbound and outbound and inventory metrics by using that Power BI content. It uses warehouse management, product, and other transactional data from finance and operations and provides both an aggregate view of a warehouse performance and a breakdown for vendors, product group, and products, and a site and a warehouse. Workforce matrix. This Power BI content provides information for headcount analysis by company, department, location, job, and more. Okay, let's have a quick demo about generate and explore financial report. It's always good practice before we prepare a financial reporting. We need to double check the financial dimensions used for financial reporting. To check that, go to General Ledger, Chart of Account, Dimensions, Financial Dimension Configuration for Integration Application. So from here, you will see you can create as many as the default dimension integration or ledger dimension integration. and a budget registry dimension, and the budget plan dimensions. So this will be used for financial reporting or data migration for import the journal into Dynamics 365. So to use financial dimension, we need to make sure the default financial dimension integration is a set of active type, and we have a proper financial dimension be selected to be used on financial reporting. If I confirm that, you can save it, or you can include a different dimension if you want. Okay, I click Save and close that. Then I start to run financial dimension report, which is in the general ledger, inquiry report, and financial reports. After click that, you will see all the default report definition is included here. Okay, so I can run, for example, balance sheet report by default, and click generate, and give the date of the report date, and click OK. Now, system start running the financial report in the background, and when it's done, it will give the alerts. If we want to edit this financial report, we can click Edit, and now system will start loading the financial report designer application for us. Click OK. System start loading the dimension reports for designer. I need to type in my Azure Active Directory account and the password. And sign in. So now the Dynamics 365 for financial reporting designer is loaded. As you can see, by default, they have a building block of report definitions, row definitions, column definitions. So from here, the report definitions you will find exactly the same as Dynamics 365 for financial operations reported financial reporting clients. Okay, and you can see the row definitions. This is out-of-box row definitions. And for example, balance sheet, when you click that, the system will display how the row definition is defined, and the description, which account included, what's the calculation, what's the totals. Same as another building block, column definition. In the default column definition, you also be able to see the, for example, weekly default or year to date and the variances. So this is the column definition we used for certain financial reports. And the last building blocks will be the reporting tree. Reporting tree is reflect all the organization hierarchies, all different companies. You can define as many as of organizing hierarchy you want for reporting purpose, or you can group different report together to create a reporting group, and then you can set up reporting schedule to generate and publish a report based on the time you defined. The last one will be security. Security will be define which user role or group has what kind of effective role on reporting designer for running the financial report. There's an administrator, designer, and a generator. Okay, so this is all the financial report securities. Now, for this report, I can easily change my reporting date or base year. Also, I can select different company if I want to run, and you can also select the detailed level of a financial report from financial only, or financial and account, or financial account and transactions. So by click that, and you can change the date. You can see it's the reporting date changed to May 31st, 2019. And I also can switch different building block of row definition or column definition if you want. And you also can include different dimension set. All means all the dimensions that will be included. So when you're happy with that, you also can select how to output your financial reporting run, what's the header and the footer you want to be specify on this report, and you can put some certain setting if you're rounding or not rounding, all these kind of details. Then after that, you can run generate a report, and the system will start loading the balance sheet default reporting for us. Give a couple seconds. System will give you the detailed status of the revenue report status. So when this reporting runs, it will automatically populate the reports, but you still need to log in with the credential and give the password. It will be generate this report result, same as what we will see when we run from Dynamics 365 for financial and operations. So you can see this is the report for current balance sheet default. So same thing for any of this transaction. If you see any these numbers, if you're interested to see what the transaction causing this negative 1800, you always be able to zoom in by click the link. And because we're running the report in the transaction level, so you will see I also can be able to looking at the transaction. So system, you can see when I click zoom, system bring the journal direct go to Dynamics Financial Operation Journal inquiry windows. You can see the journal name number and the detail of the transactions. Okay, so same thing, and here that's the one in the client. So as I refresh them, so you can see that's the report result already being generated. So I can select the one, most recent one, and view the report result. So you also can zoom in. So this is a wrap-up demo of Generate and Explore Financial Report. Thank you. Okay, now let's discuss about build and test mobile apps for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Dynamics 365 for finance and operations mobile apps is one of a kind configurable user-friendly mobile apps. By using these apps, an end user can easily reuse existing user interfaces, business logic, and design a mobile workspace in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Every page, action, and control metadata recording made is saved and cached in the apps as static metadata. This metadata recording contains details of all objects used along with their dependencies, relationships, business logic, and filters as XML in the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations database. This also enables users to import and export mobile apps workspace easily from one environment to another. The Dynamics 365 for Finance Operations Application Object Server, AOS, is used for sharing application objects and information as an effective tool to increase application performance. This mobile app communicates with the AOS to get metadata for a mobile workspace and the page and the field that appear on this page, and to get data for a field on those pages. Each time that the mobile apps require data for a page, AOS creates a new session that uses the context of the person who is using the mobile apps. AOS then uses that person's context to open the corresponding forms by using the corresponding menu items. AOS can open multiple forms in a quick section and perform action on those forms. For example, filter, opening fact box, change tab page, and click button. Any business logic on the form is also run as usual. Through that process, AOS collects the data value from the request field and then send them that data back to the mobile apps. To start working with the mobile apps framework, click a gear button in right side of a menu bar and go to Setting, Mobile Apps. Navigation in the mobile apps consists of 4 simple concepts: the dashboard, workspaces, pages, and actions. When the mobile apps framework opens, we can view the Manage Mobile Apps Designer. Here, we can push or publish and unpublish apps, import and export apps, and create new mobile apps. When we start the app, it opens on the dashboard. On the dashboard, notice that it contains a list of workspaces that are available in our Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations environment. Following are out-of-box mobile apps available as of today in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Let's first look at Company Directory, which allows us to view and contact other employees in our organizations. My Team. We can view our direct reports and extend staff, as well as send place for individuals in our reporting chain. Invoice approval, which provides a listing of invoices that have been assigned to us through the vendor invoice header workflow process. Expense management. We can use that to capture and upload a receipt so that we can attach it to our expense report later in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. The mobile workspace allows us quickly create an expense line by using an attached receipts. Purchase order approval, which allows us to view and respond to purchase order with actions such as approve or reject with purchase order approval workflow. Project time entry. We can use that to enter and save time against the project by using our mobile device. Cost controlling. Cost center manager can see the performance of the cost centers through these mobile apps. Inventory on hand. Inventory on hand mobile apps let the user gain insights into reserved and available inventory for particular products. Sales orders. Use these sales order mobile apps. User can stay up to date on our sales orders. For example, sales order process status. Vendor collaborations. Vendor can stay up to date on the purchase orders that have been sent to them for approval. They can also view information about new and updated purchase order and contacts via this vendor collaboration mobile apps. Dynamics 365 for Finance Operations mobile apps is one of the kind configured user-friendly mobile apps. By using these apps, can send end user easily reuse as a mobile workspace in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Every page action and control metadata recording made is saved and cached in the apps, as we mentioned earlier. This metadata recording contains the details of all objects used along with their dependence and relationships, business logics, and filter as XML in Dynamics 365 for Financial Operations. Now, let's talk about workflow. First, review how to create and maintain and use workflow in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Workflow are available throughout many different areas in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. A workflow represents a business process. It defines how documents flow or moves through the system by showing who must complete a task, make a decision, either by using a manual or conditional decision control, or approved a document. To first start the workflow, configuration either an approval element, sub-workflow, or task. Then it will be submitted for approval to complete the workflow. We can have a multiple workflow of the same type. For example, suppose we are creating a purchase requisition workflow for each country or region in which we operate. We might want to name a purchase requisition workflow as a purchase requisition for requisition Denmark or purchase requisition Spain. Define workflow types. A workflow configuration is based on workflow types. We can create multiple workflow configurations for each workflow type. Workflow type available for numerous modules throughout the system. For example, in General Ledger module, if we go to General Ledger, Journal Setup, General Ledger Workflows page, select New to view available workflow types. Each type of workflow corresponding a journal type in a specific module. One workflow configuration must be created for each journal type that is used with workflow approval. By design, some of the workflow are shared across multiple legal entities, which we know as organization-wide workflows, while the other type of workflow are legal entity specific. If the workflow type does not exist for our business requirement, we always can extend new workflow by developing and or customization. We also can identify the workflow association with our organization by value of fields in the workflow list page of each module in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, as shown in the figure. Some modules do not have any workflow type at all. Alternatively, the type workflow that we need to have addressed a certain business requirement does not exist. If this is the case, as I mentioned, our development team can create new workflow type in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations by using Visual Studios. Before we plan to create a new workflow, it is always a good idea to see if any out-of-box workflow in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations can be used instead of create a new one. We can always create a new version of an existing workflow and modify it in a way that addresses the customer's business requirements. If no workflow existing for a specified requirement or no out-of-box workflow existing that can address requirements, our development team can create new workflow template. Several main types of out-of-box workflow template are available in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Workflow can be described as a task, procedure, steps, and people that are required to input also and output information, and the tools that are needed for each step in business process. In this, we will looking at how to create and set up workflows. The overall process to create a workflow is first select workflow type from a module of Dynamics 365 Finance Operations from the workflow list page. Click workflow type link to open the Click Once workflow editor This will open Workflow Editor. The Workflow Elements area of the Workflow Editor contains elements that we can add to our workflow. To add elements to the workflow, just drag them onto the canvas. To connect one workflow element to another, hold the point over the element until connection points appear. Click the connection point and drag it to another element. Be sure to connect all the elements connected. Then configure the properties of the workflow. Configure the elements of the workflow. Resolve any errors or warnings showing up on workflow design. When done, save and activate the workflow. The workflow editor is a graphical interface we can use to create Dynamics 365 finance and operation workflows by arrange workflow elements on the design surfaces. To open workflow edit, select the workflow type to open, click once workflow editor. Manual tasks. A manual task is a unit of work that must be performed by user. For example, expense report workflow can have manual tasks that require to assign user to complete the following actions, such as review the receipts that are submitted together with an expense report, or call an employee's manager. Then, automated task component. An automated task is a unit of work that must be performed by the system. No human interaction required. For example, a sales order workflow can have automated tasks that require the system to complete the following actions: perform a credit check, create a customer record for a customer if a record doesn't already exist. Approval process. At each approval step, the user can perform following actions: approve the document, reject it, request change to the document if information missing, or amend the document to another user for approval. For example, the limit of signing amount is too low. Request a high level approver to approve the document. Line item workflow element. We can add line item workflow element to its document workflow. For example, a purchase order line workflow can be added to a purchase order workflow as shown in the following figure on the screen. When the line item element is run, each line item on the document is submitted for a processing. We might want to all the line item to be processed by the same line item workflow, or we might want each line item to be processed by different line item workflow. Workflow edit is similar to how we would graphically model a business process using Microsoft Visual. We can add, delete, and reposition workflow elements so that they precisely model the business process we want to automate. The component of the workflow edit include action pane that runs along the top of the workflow edit contains button we can use navigate in the workflow, copy and paste the workflow element, and configure properties. To configure property of the whole workflow, select canvas. To configure property of the specific workflow element, select element. Workflow element consists of various elements. These elements can be a task, approval process, or flow control element. Workflow elements can be added to the workflow that are creating. To add elements, just drag them from the workflow element area onto the canvas. Canvas. The canvas is the main area where workflow elements can be arranged. The flow of the business process we are modeling is indicated by connector that join the elements together. Some elements can contain other elements, which in turn creates a parallel or parent-child relationship. For example, an approval element contains one or more approval steps. These steps are child elements of the parent approval element. If we double-click the approval element, we can add and configure the approval steps. If we want to personalize the text, we can insert placeholders. Placeholder in workflow will be replaced with appropriate data when displayed to the user. The placeholder value will be populated from purchase requisition document when the workflow is used. This enhances business intelligence for user working with workflow. Some organizations require that journal be approved by user other than the person who entered the journal. Based on the journal name, we can require manual approval or workflow approval, or no approval even. If workflow approval is set up for journal, additional controls are displayed at the top of the journal form. This includes a yellow information bar and the submit button or action menu. Some buttons in the journal and the journal virtual page are not available when a journal has been submitted for workflow journal approval. When the journal is approved, the options in the post menu are available, and the other control and the fields in the page are not. If a user edits approved journal, the workflow status is reset. The option is the post menu are not available, and the other control and the fields are available. When changes have been made, the journal must be resubmitted for approval. A workflow can involve several groups of people: the organizer, the originator, task assignees, decision makers, and approvers. For example, consider the following workflow approval process. In this scenario, the express report workflow, Sam is the originator. The member of the queue are task assignee. John is decision maker, and Frank, Sue, and Anne are approver, just like showing on the screen. Set up and configure legal entity in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. In Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, we can understand as a company, which is an organization that has a registered legal structure. Legal entity can enter into legal contracts and are required to prepare statements that report their performance. The country and region that we select for the primary address of the legal entity controls the country and region specified features that are available for the legal entity. Before choosing the country region for a new legal entity, we need to understand the significance of the localization in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. For example, consider St. Martin in the Caribbean. This is an interesting island that is literally divided into two parts. One side of it is controlled by the Netherlands, and the other side, the territory of France. The law, regulation, and the tax calculation are different for each country and region. Some regulatory requires of certain country and region requires finance on operation enable and disable certain functionality and feature, and even forms, fields, reports, and inquiries. A company is type of legal entity. In finance and operations, companies are the only kind of legal entity that we can create, and every legal entity is associated with the company ID. The company ID field is limited for 4 alphabet characters, and once it is created, it cannot be changed. proper planning for naming convention should be considered prior to creation of legal entity in production environment. User can access data only for the company that they are currently signing to and have security access for the roles they belong to. A search name is an alternative name that can be used to search for this legal entity. One of the best ways to learn about finance and operation and be able to successfully implement it is to listen to the story of the customer's day-to-day operations, understand their requirement, understand their business process. We need to be able to convert the customer requirements and process into test cases and try to match the functionality and the configuration of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations with customer business requirement. For example, Contoso is an organization which has at least one company or legal entity and has registered its international companies in multiple countries such as Germany, United States, and France. Therefore, Contoso is an organization that is a group of people who are working together to carry out the business process or achieve a goal. Organization hierarchy represents the relationship between the organizations that make up our business. This organization has decided to acquire a business with a fiction name, Seahorse Retailer. We can create new legal entity by navigate to the legal entity page. The primary steps of creating legal entity is set up number sequence. We can set up all required number sequence at the same time by using set up number sequence wizard. Or we can create or modify individual number sequence by using the number sequence page. When we set up a number sequence, we must specify a scope which defines which organization use this number sequence. By default, following scopes can be used for number sequence. Shared, a single number sequence is used for all organizations. The shared scope is available only for some reference, not all. Company, a separate number sequence is used for each company. Use the company scope when the underlying table includes the data area ID field. For example, use this scope for the number sequence for the customer account number that is in the customer table legal entity. In separate number sequence is used for each legal entity. Use this legal entity scope when the underlying table does not include the data area ID field and has a foreign key to the legal entity table company info. For example, use this scope for the number sequence for the expense report number that is in the expense report table, travel expense table. Operating unit, a separate number sequence is used for each operating unit. This normally refers to the operation site. Company and fiscal calendar period. A separate number sequence is used for each company and fiscal calendar period combination. Legal entity fiscal calendar period. A separate number sequence is used for each legal entity and fiscal calendar period combinations. Operating unit type. A separate unit number sequence is used for each type of operating unit. All this is mandatory number sequence need to be set up before we can move on for rest of implementation tasks. We use organization hierarchy to represent the relationship between the organizations that make up business. Therefore, the most important consideration when we model organization is the structure of our business. We should define organization structure based on the feedback from executive and senior managers from functional areas, such as finance and accounting, human resources, operations, purchasing, sales and marketing. An operating unit is an organization that is used to divide control, economic resources, and operational process in the business. People in an operating unit have a duty to maximize the use of scarce resources, improve process, and account for their performance. The operating units in Dynamics 365 for finance operations are cost center. For example, an operating unit in which managers are accountable for budget and actual expenditure. It is used for management and operational control. Business unit, a semi-autonomous operation unit that is created to meet strategic business objectives. It is used for financial reporting that is based on industry or product lines that the organization serves independently of legal entities. Value streams. An operating unit that controls one or more production flow. It is commonly used in lean manufacturing to control the activities and flows that are required to supply a product or service to consumers. Department, an operation unit that represents the category of functional parts of an organization that performs a specific tasks such as sales or accounting. It is used to report on functional area. A department can have report profit and loss responsibility and consists of a group of cost centers. Retail channel. Retail channel is an operating unit that represents a brick and mortar store, an online store, or online marketplace used for management and operational control of one or more stores within across legal entities. Branch unit operation represents a branch location outside of main location of the business. This is as part of fleet management sample module and is not installed as part of a production environment. Rental location, also an operating unit that represents a rental location of the business. This is part of fleet management sample module and is not installed as part of production environment either. Region, an operating unit that represents a geographic area of the business. This is as part of fleet management sample module and is not installed as part of production environment. Team. A team is an organization which its members shared common responsibility, interest, objective. Pay attention. Teams cannot be used in organizing hierarchy. When we create an organization hierarchy in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, we must assign purpose to the hierarchy. The purpose that we assign to a hierarchy determines the types of organization that can be included in the hierarchy. The purpose also defines the application scenario that hierarchy can be used in. A hierarchy that created for purpose might not reflect the actual legal structure of the business. For example, the approval process for requisition can involve multiple legal entities and positions that don't report to each other. The CFO might be required to approve a requisition of certain amount, even though the organization that submits the requisition does not report to the CFO. Hierarchy can be used for following purpose. Procurement internal control, which define purchasing policy for the business. For example, we can use this built-in role to control if a specific department must always buy computers from approved vendors. Expenditure internal control defines travel expense policies such as meals and travels. Organizing chart defines hierarchy organization for employees. For example, it could address questions such as who report to who. Signature authority internal control defines policy that control the spending limit. For example, how much money can we spend without asking for approval. Vendor payment internal control defines a policy that validates the vendor that the account payable clerk are authorized to generate payment for. Audit internal control defines policy based on factors such as duplication of certain keywords. For example, we can use this audit policy to evaluate expense report, vendor invoice, and purchase order to make sure that they comply with the policy role that we created. Centralized payment. This policy is only available for organization hierarchy that include only legal entity node. The concept for centralized payment means that one legal entity can process invoice and payment for both accounts receivable and payable for another legal entity. It is required setup in the company accounting. Security defines policy related to security role assignment. Retail assortment. This is policy control available of products in a specific time period and perhaps on the selected retail channels. In other words, it answers questions such as which product, when, for how long, and where the products should be available in which channels. Retail replenishment. This is a policy defines roles for distribution and fulfillment for replenishment. We can use this cross-docking. For example, cross-docking from production to an outbound location is relevant for manufacturing who produce a high volume of ideally want to ship finished product as soon as they are reported as finished from production team. Retail reporting defines policy generation of financial reports and creates hierarchy structure for drilling down and roll up within the report. This policy covers all transactions for all retail channels, and the data is mostly summarized. Benefit eligibility control defines policies such as who should be getting parking passes on a dental plan benefit. Budget planning, an operating unit that is considered for the finance and operation department's budget plan. It is used to management and allocation of funds across operating units of the legal entity. Retail posting. This policy is very similar to retail reporting. However, this policy covers all the transactions for all the retail channels, and the data is most detailed. Project management defines a policy that controls association of the worker, project, and a category in a service industry or project management and accounting. Premium earning generation. This policy defines roles such as overtime for contract. Distributed order management, DOM. This policy refers to DOM optimized order fulfillment across a complex network of systems and processes. Detail about this policy we will be discussed in next session. To help improve customer experience, retail must have a visibility into their inventory and in real time across all their channels. A single holistic view of all the inventory can help optimize order fulfillment, allocation, and distribution. Therefore, adopting and implementing distributed order management system is become imperative for retailers. DOM optimize order fulfillment across complex network system and process. It relies on a single global view of inventory across the whole organization to intelligently manage orders so that they are fulfilled accurately and in a more cost-effective manner. By improved efficiency of the retailer's supply chain, DOM helps the retailer better meet customer expectations. The distributed order management is mostly used for retail industry. The illustration here shows life cycle of a sales order in a DOM system. Here are some things to consider when we use DOM features. Currently, DOM only consider the orders that are created from retail channels. Sales orders are identified as a retail sales order when a retail sales option is set to yes. DOM is not tested with advanced warehouse management features. We must be careful to determine whether DOM is compatible with the advanced warehouse management capabilities and the processes that are relevant to them. DOM is available only on the cloud version of retail. It does not support on-premise deployments. There are two types of calendars in Dynamics 365 Finance Operation. One is a physical calendar, which are used in a financial management implementation and are the date control for posting financial transaction for specific period. The other one called work calendar, which describes the capacity of working time of the operations resources and a set available for certain operations. In Dynamics 365 for financial operations, we can use different calendar for different business units. For example, we can have one calendar for production and another for sales and marketing units for our business. To define work calendar, we need to create work time template. Working time template define work hours throughout the week and are used to generate working time for a period. And we can create and manage data intervals that can be used for financial statement and reports. Data interval allow us to create dynamic dates when we use dates interval. We can set up predefined periods when we run financial statements. That interval can also be used when setting up a location role. And both of financial calendar and work calendars are mandatory setup for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Now, let's have a demo on configure new legal entities. So, to create a new legal entities, we need to go to Organization and Administration module. And in the organization, click legal entities. Here's the list of existing legal entity in our installation instance. So to create a new legal entity, just click New. Give it the name of the legal entity, for example, Seahorse Retailer. Give the name RSHQ of this is a 4 digits company ID. And select the region. Based on this region, system will switch on different functionality, localization functionality. So if I choose, for example, USA, and click OK, the new company is created accordingly. Now, let's have a quick look at the detailed setting of the new legal entities. So you can see, I have a Seahorse Retailer company at RSHQ created. I can put some memo about describe our my company. The search name already populated. We can put if this company using financial consolidation process or not, or are we going to use this financial elimination process or not? If this company is a consolidation company, we may need to switch that on. But if not, we don't need to switch this to switch. And you'll be able to select the language of this company to use. And you can specify the time zone of the company. And this is important, the localization function region will detect using company's address. So this is a company address with the region of USA, so it will switch on the localization of a USA company. Now, in the contact information, we can always add the different type of contact people, like by phone number and the email address, URL for an fax, Facebook, tweet, LinkedIn. You can put all this detailed contact information from this company if you want. And in the station report, we will going to specify the branch and subsidiary and DUNS number if applied, and the registration number for certain localization features. Relate the registration number field will be enabled based on the localization features. Also, we can put our bank information of the company by the routing number, central bank code, purpose text, all kind of a bank account. Okay, so this is a company's bank account information, and then we also can put foreign and trade logistics related information data from here. Then the last one is the number sequence. The number sequence section is empty, but after we create a new legal entity, we always need to run number sequence wizard, so the number sequence will be automatically populated here in these sections. Additional registration, if you have different registration number need to be specified, that's the place. Now, here, it's your company's dashboard image. You can change the dashboard image, or you can switch none. It's no image. You also can say default, which is this is a default dynamic 365 dimension. Also, you can change the banner, and then you can also use the logo if you want. So, and also for the reporting company logo image, you can add in the logo showing on your report, such as customer invoice. I will go to here and choose an image, say, okay, I will get this logo for my report. So I can load it, and then after loading that, system will be showing this logo. So from now on, all my company for SRHQ invoice format or purchase order will have this logo populate in the reports. And it also can be define default destination from printed to screen or printed to PDF file. This is just default setting. You always can override when you run the report. Tax registration, that's a tax and registration number for this company. And because this is a USA company, so tax 11099 need to be specified. And the federal tax ID and the DBA number and the name control, all these kinds of 1099 fields need to be filled in. And the last one will be the tax information based on the localization features. So this is the company create. And the last things, after you create that, don't forget, you have to remember in the user options, change your login to new company if you want to direct login. Practice questions. Question 1. How will you publish a customer satisfaction KPIs to production environment? A. Dynamics 365 system administration setting. B. Lifecycle service configuration. C. Power BI desktop client. D. Application object tree. The correct answer is C. Power BI desktop client. Because Power BI Desktop Client is the authorization tool that we can extend and publish KPIs, so we only can use the Power BI client, desktop client, to publish new customer satisfied KPI to our production environment. Question 2. You need to set up an organizational hierarchy to manage organizational relationships. What purpose can you assign to organization hierarchy? A. Assortment. B. Financial reason code. C. Cost center. D. Price models. The correct answer is A. Assortment. If you look at organization hierarchy purpose, which we learned, we will find retail assortment. The rest answer are not organization hierarchy purpose at all. For example, cost center is a business unit in the business organization hierarchy. It's not a purpose of the organization hierarchy. Thank you for attending session of training on MB-300 Dynamics 365 Unified Core Operation. Fundamental exam prepare second day session. In next session, we will teach about manage users, security, and personalizations. Again, to well prepare this exam, I will strongly encourage you to use Microsoft self-paced learning resources for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, which you can find at aka.ms/learn. Then search for product of Dynamics 365 finance operations. Microsoft also offers multiple training and certification resources to us, such as Microsoft Learning, online course, instructor-led training. We can quickly pick any of those options which suit for our learning and exam preparing. Here are additional resources about MB-300 exam details. Thank you.